What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Sessions with Rich podcast. This platform is to help expand your consciousness and just help bring a different perspective to you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Super pleased to have you. And if you want to listen to previous episodes, you can find me on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and all other streaming platforms. And if you can, please leave reviews and ratings. I would gladly appreciate it. Now to the reason why you guys are here on this episode. I have superstar R&B singer and songwriter Niqa. Welcome to the show.
Hi, what's up? Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm feeling amazing right now. I'm just happy to be here.
We lit. I was before the show started up, we was trying to get the microphone situation together. We sitting
Yeah,
up.
I had to whip it together real quick, technical difficulties, but ain't nothing that I can't, get through.
Exactly. Little flex. No, I love that. For people who don't know, let us know about you, what you got going on.
Well, I go by the name Niqa Mor. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm from New York, Long Island specifically. My mom is a jazz cabaret singer. My dad, he plays piano and bass. So I'm like the product of musicians. And I love to make R&B music. I love writing, and I've pretty much just been recording and songwriting for about 12 years now. And
Amazing.
I feel like I've been doing it since I was a kid, and now it's really just all coming into play full circle. So I'm just excited about that.
So you saying, since you've been doing it as a kid, I'm imagining you waking up and just hearing music throughout the house.
Every day, all day, 100%.
Wow. So your mom and your dad, how did they, I feel like there's like a family thing is seeing right now. Your mom and dad, did they learn like at a young age as well?
I think my parents have always just been, around music. I'm not really sure where their love of music comes from, but I know that like we definitely have a lot of artists, musicians, dancers, painters in our family. So I feel like somebody has a talent. Like if you're in my family, like you have to do something kind of, is what it really seems like.
That's amazing. So I know recently you was, in the lab with Tidal. You was giving your fans a look inside your writing video process for one of your songs. Talk to us about that.
That was for a project I did last year, a song I dropped called Fantasy Sex XX. And that was pretty much just I would say like my first real creative manifestation coming to life, where I'm like directing a video and kind of like applying, all the techniques that I know into my art.
Yeah.
And I'd say like it was a really big challenge at the time because, I had to put together the storyline, the mood board. We did the creative set design for that. We did a lot of work. And I think sometimes you can plan something and it gets canceled. You can't get the time schedule with everyone, or you have to hire a crew, find a model. And a lot of these things just come into play last minute, and you don't really know how it's going to work out, but you just have faith that it does. And
that's that surrender.
It's super. I mean, I have this funny story where for that video, we were referencing the Goofy movie, and
I love that movie.
I'm supposed to be Roxanne, and I'm like, I need this orange flower. I go to every flower shop and I can't find, the one from the picture, and I'm really specific. So I'm just like, I have to have that flower. And I went to one store and they had something like it, but they were trying to charge $60 just for one flower. And I'm like, that's a lot of money, to spend. Like we were budgeting at the time. It's like, I don't think that makes like the most sense. I kind of just let it go. And as I'm walking into my hairstylist's house, like, I literally am walking past this bush and the flower that I want is on the bush.
That's crazy.
I'm just like, get the hell out of here. Like, how did it just pop up in my face like that? And
manifestation.
There were just two of them, and I just took them and put them in a little water glass and held them on set. And we winded up being able to like pin them for the look, and that's like the flower that was with us in the car all day.
That's crazy. So at that point, that's when you saw the flowers, did it hit you like, damn, like I kind of created this, so I manifested this?
Totally. I think for me, I had already kind of experimented with manifestation before.
Okay.
But sometimes there are just ones that like slip your mind where you don't
Yeah.
realize like it's easy. It's right there.
You
Like
feel
there's
me?
nothing that's not in my fingertips. I just have to, align with it and let it go, or just find a way for it to come to me, whether it be making a mood board and just like putting that intention out there so I can see it in real life.
That's so important. This the conscious, I guess like conscious attention of being like aware of everything that you're doing on a day-to-day moment that's going to put you in that frequency, like you said, to experience your manifestation. It all like you have to almost like shut out all other like noise and all other distractions
Right.
and only focus on what you want. And it's beautiful once it does manifest. It's like, especially like you see when it sneak up on you. It's like, oh shit, like okay.
I think there's always this process of just forgetting that you're human. Like,
Yeah,
remember, like it's like you're switching between God, human, God, human, God, human,
yeah,
and
you are.
you're trying to get a hold on all these limiting beliefs or things that you know were in your reality in the past, and they don't matter at all.
No,
Like they don't matter.
no. It's this like you remember old things that you used to trip about that you're just constantly overthinking your mind. How is this going to happen? It could be good or bad. It could be how is this going to manifest, or how am I going to get out the situation, or what's going to happen? And it's just surrender, and everything always works out every single time. Every
It,
single time.
every single time, but not only that, it's just a part of me is like the past is a distant memory in the best way.
Ooh,
Like, you know what I mean? Because I think it's not that I want to forget things. I think we have a lot of experiences. I mean, I've lived a lot of days. I've
right.
done a lot of shit. Am I allowed to
I've
curse?
done a lot of shit.
I've done a lot of shit, and I feel like I don't remember it all. I don't remember the
No.
outfit I wore 3 weeks ago, whatever. And it's like when you realize how precious time is, the present is really where it's at. Like, and it's so
Wow.
literal because the present is a gift. Literally, it's
Wow.
for us to hold on to. And I think when we don't acknowledge that, we're just caught up back there or in the
Yeah.
future of like what could go wrong. It's like I could be at home relaxing in bed thinking about what's going wrong 2 weeks from now.
Right.
Oh my, am I gonna find a dress to wear to that wedding? Or, just all these things that don't matter. And when you really just are chasing your joy and just aligning and just vibrating higher and just knowing like, okay, I'm on top of my thoughts. I'm not letting shit get in the way,
Mhm.
I think it just transforms everything.
Every single thing. I think it's interesting. You mentioned, I don't even remember what I wore 3 weeks ago or 3 days ago. And it's like, damn, that's so true. What did I do when I woke up that day? What did I have for dinner? What conversations did I have? I don't remember.
I mean, your camera roll and your bank statements will tell you, but
No,
you know what I mean? Like, as far as emotionally, what are you really holding on to?
Mm,
Unnecessarily, that just, it's like those negative things or that
mm.
comment that someone said that just didn't matter. And I kind of just feel like I'm always transforming. So, like, it just can't be true. The things that
No,
people have to say just can't be true. And it's like, if I wasn't the best, I'm getting better in this moment. So I just can't even acknowledge the negativity anymore.
it's kind of like why would you, I guess at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why are you triggered by someone else's opinion?
Right.
Like, where does that come from?
Totally.
I think that's because at the end, because I guess it kind of ties into people pleasing as well. In a sense, I'm not saying in a negative way, but it's just you want, you don't want to say no. You have a hard time saying no,
Right. Totally.
essentially. And I'm guilty of that 100%. Now I say no and I don't have an explanation. It's just
I
like
love saying no. It's a luxury for me.
powerful. It's
It's
powerful.
because there were so many things where it's like I would live in New York and I was working at a gym. I was just trying to get my shit together. I was trying to figure it out, and I was actively just doing photo shoots or going to radio interviews or just doing what I needed to do, driving my car and
Hmm.
taking it all through Manhattan, finding a parking spot and, getting a ticket, paying for it, just trying to figure things out. And I just realized I was stretching myself thin, showing up for things or like showing
Yeah,
up for something. And like, I appreciate you saying, like, how do I pronounce your name? Because that matters.
right.
Sometimes, like, you can get to a place where they expect you to show up, but they didn't even write your name right on the flyer. or they didn't say your name right. And it's like, that's not even respectful to me, but I'm going to bring my audience, my platform, my talent to you, you know, and it's like, have respect for the artist.
100%.
You know, like, at least say my name correctly. You know, like, there's just the small things that matter. And I think that, you know, my power back is just saying, like, you know what, I'm good. I actually can't make it. I suddenly got sick or whatever you gotta do just for yourself, but don't feel bad about it because you matter. And at the end of the day, like, everybody's gonna look out for them, but
facts though.
Your mental health and your well-being, no one is checking on you.
No.
For the most part, it's what I've noticed.
That's true.
The ones who do, I keep them really close and I cherish those relationships.
I'm noticing though, like the older you get, your circle shrinks. Right. Because you only have like, you got your right hand people that you know at the drop of a bucket that they'll be down for you, no matter what the situation is, and vice versa.
100%. And I feel like when you meet those people, you just have to make sure that you're nurturing those relationships.
Big facts.
You know, because it's like, those are the people that they push you when you're doubting yourself, or they're there to be like, yo, you got this. Like, you should drop that. You should drop that picture, or you should put this out. You should, you know, I think we have like construction going on in my hallway.
No, it's okay. It's cool. It's cool. No, they do push you, and it's the people who will keep it real with you, not go sugarcoat, don't want to, you know, coddle your ego. They'll call you out if you tripping. Right. To pick yourself
and that's the kind of humbling. And sometimes it's like, look, not everything is hot. It's okay. Like, nah, that's whack. I don't like that. I'm not feeling it. And sometimes we have to remember, are they projecting this onto me? Or genuine love and support? And then you decipher that. You'll know because of the vibration you feel in your body. Like, if you feel a little funny about it, you're probably not, you know when somebody's hating or being weird or being whatever, you know what I mean? And you know when you're tripping a little bit and somebody is really like, look, man, like, I don't ever come out of pocket to tell you something, but you probably should not do this or do it or whatever.
That's so true. You mentioned they're probably just projecting. And I feel like something like this is something that's not talked about often, with understanding like why people do the things that they do. It's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them ultimately, because they're triggered by something that
you're doing or expressing. 100%. And you have to know when people are just afraid of what they're doing, and they're seeing, you know, you live out something. You know, I just think that when it comes down to it, you just have to understand that your opinion matters most.
Yeah.
You have the audience opinion, your opinion. And I believe that you have to just go within sometimes and just recalibrate a little bit. Just think about, like, what voice is this talking? Is it the voice of fear, or is it the voice of desire? Is it the voice of, you know, being triggered, or am I hitting a wound here? You know what I mean? You have to think about those things, because you'll know like what moves to make. You know, it's like you have an idea and it's great, and then you show it to somebody, you're like, oh, that's terrible. You shouldn't. You should just work at this job that's stable. You don't need to.
It's always about security.
Be a designer. You don't need to do that. It's like, what? Like,
those limiting beliefs.
Exactly. And sometimes, like, I realize the world is a mirror. It's like, I could think something about myself and then like be anxious about it and go out in the world, and then like somebody brings up something I'm anxious about, and it's like, you're triggering me. But I also know, like, well, were my thoughts clean? Was I on point? Because you can just do some shit to me I was already ruminating in, and now I'm outside and just experiencing those thoughts.
That's so important. I feel like not enough people, well, maybe I'm just projecting this as well, who knows? But I feel like having that realization when you're experiencing something, and just having that conversation with yourself, like, damn, okay, I know that I create my reality. So there's a reason why this situation is happening to me, because there's no coincidences. There's no coincidences. Everything is divine timing and orchestrated by you. So the situation, one, is triggering me, and two, is something I don't prefer. But why? Why? And like you mentioned, it's that thought you probably had the other day or a judgment you made. No, you're sorry.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I just,
Oh,
like those little like water particles. Like,
and then the little water particles. I shouldn't make you laugh. My bad.
good. I'm good. I'm good. But totally, I totally hear what you're saying.
It's this, but the accountability factor of your reality.
I mean, I've done some funny things in my time where I feel like, I remember one time like I was like doing my makeup and I was about to go on live, and
Mhm.
sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm just so ugly, or I'm so this, or
Right.
I look gross. And it's like those negative thoughts are not helping you. All
No.
it's doing is creating a bunch of people that are gonna tell you that shit. And
Mhm.
when I went on live, it was love, but there was that one person that was like, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna say mean, nasty things. And it's like, then you kind of have like this moment where you like question yourself, and you're like, you look in the mirror like, oh my God, like somebody reaffirmed what I already affirmed about myself.
That one person out of like 35 million. You feel?
And then like I think the more that I let it bother me, it kept manifesting into bigger, more like ridiculous experiences that were just funny, because it's like, all right, come on, stop it. Like this is ridiculous. But
Like now you know.
yeah, it's like, it's like, oh, like, oh, I hate how I look today. Like I feel like I like a guy. And then like, you get to the airport and somebody's like, excuse me, sir. You're like,
Funny as hell. Like, wait,
oh, like,
don't say that to me.
and you're like, wait a minute, like, what? But like I'm just learning to be like confident in myself, in my beauty, in who I am, and just like
Yeah.
not trying to change anything, not trying to adjust for anyone, because I have to wake up and be me every day in this
100%.
vehicle, this body, this meat suit, or whatever they call
Yeah.
it.
Me
So
too. Because it's just what that self-love you have for yourself, the and it's ultimately like honoring your inner child as well. Like you wouldn't talk to your child if you have, if you have children, you wouldn't talk to your child that way. So why would you talk to yourself that way? Why would
right,
you?
I think a lot of the times we don't realize how negative we're being. Like my
Mhm.
alarm clock used to be wake up lazy every day. I was waking up like wake up lazy, and I'd have no motivation to do anything.
I
And
mean,
you know what I mean? I kind of like come home, like snack, like watch TV, but I wasn't really trying to work on myself. And then I realized like the law of attraction and
mhm.
the power of the tongue. Like you can't just call yourself names. So now it's like, wake up, superstar. Wake
Yeah,
up, beautiful. Wake up, amazing person who's gonna kill shit today, because that has to be the level of like, and you have to be like strict on it, where it's like I've
yeah, you
seen
do.
there's people who like have not the best image, but they're able to go in and just be a star and like
Mhm.
magnetize every room. And
Mhm.
I've realized like from being shy in the past, like, okay, where is this getting me? Am I gonna
Yeah.
be a star if I'm shy? No one will know I do music. No one will know that I sing. If I'm afraid or ashamed to promote myself,
Mhm.
no one is going to tap in with what I'm doing. They're not gonna believe it. It has to be believable.
It has to be believable. It's that self-love aspect of yourself and just fully embodying who you want to be as, whatever you are. And then at the same time, it's like you have to play make believe in a sense. Like to break it down in the simplest form, you have to completely ignore what you're seeing with your two eyes and what
Ignore
you're listening.
ignore the reality that you're in.
Ignore.
Ignore it.
Ignore.
Because there are things that I remember like in the past, I was, it's like you could be in a situation where you're comparing yourself to other people, and those people are not even taking it as seriously as you, or they're not
True.
even competition, because there is no competition. You're your competition.
Yeah.
And it's like the second you realize that we all have abundance, we all have a lane, we
Yo.
all have a chance to go get ours and create in our reality. It's like wake up and play that video game every
Play
day,
that game.
game
Wake,
of life, which is
wake up, yo.
I'm gonna start my day off with a shower playlist and raise my vibes up real high, and then that free smoothie might come in when I go to the like I might make an extra $400, just off of just being good to somebody, or just a acting opportunity comes up, and it's like, oh wow, like this I was thinking of a part like this. I wanted
Yeah.
something, or this is on my vision board. I think I was sorry, 1 second.
You're good. You're good.
Hey, I'm on a podcast. Can I call you back?
Yes, you can.
Just text me.
Okay.
Bye. It's my sister.
It's all good.
She does music too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's a whole family event.
Yeah, and I taught her how to manifest. So it's like, like she wanted to move out here.
Yo, for
And,
real.
I kind of just told her, I'm like, hey, like just write it down, like write down what you want, or like envision it, believe that you can do it. And she was like in a crunch. I think there was like a 2-week period where she was just trying to figure out what she was going to do. And then
Yeah.
that apartment, everything just kind of fell into place. And it was like the numbers were aligning us the whole time. Like the place she moved into was 333.
Yo.
You know what I mean? And it's like things like that where like when I made that leap of faith and I made my move, I was able to look at those confirmations, those signs, and just be like, okay, God got me. Like, let me write another, let me say another prayer. Let me do a little more research on this. Okay, they don't want to shoot the music video right now. I'm gonna make my own mood board that evokes the energy of the video so that the right person's gonna come and say they want to shoot it, and now it's done. Or the right thing. And I think that what I want to highlight is really how creatives can use this for their endeavors, because manifesting in your creative field is like the best you can do. It's like becoming the mood board in real life, like becoming what you want to be, and really like taking a whole new paintbrush and like, I'm gonna just do what I want, dress how I want,
Create your
put the
canvas
energy out there.
Yep. I like that, because I do feel that everyone knows about, well, they're starting to understand the law of attraction. That's just the name of like, I guess people will kind of describe our powers and just our ability to create. And it's all you really need. You need to plant that one seed and everything else will blossom.
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes that mental back and forth, it could be so hard to trick yourself out of it. But
you mean when you first learn how to manifest?
Right. I mean, but I think there's a time where it's like, okay, I look at myself as like I have a very like addictive mindset. Like I can focus on a lot of things. Like I'm a daydreamer. I can stay in my mind for hours and hours. You know what I mean? And just like create and think about the things I want, or that's the kind of creative I am. I see visions for my music, for my visuals. I like making collages and putting things together in that way. And I feel like those are all manifestations. Like before you draw, you see it a little bit before you draw that line. See a few more lines, and then you all of a sudden now you have a whole portrait. I think it's just kind of like knowing like the faith in what's happening, no matter what, is more important than what's going on around you. Because in like a second, that apartment gonna pop up. It's like, oh, I have a place to live now. What was I worried about? Like, oh, that job. Oh, here it is. Like,
it all works out.
That person, that dream person, or whatever. I just think it just always happens when you're not needing it and you're not doubting it.
Mm-hmm. That's so important, because I remember when I first, I guess, started practicing with our powers, I would say, you have that doubt of your mind, like, does this work, right? Can I really manifest my reality? And so for me, I started, I wanted to manifest the Audi. It was a black Audi A7. I know it specifically, and I would see it all the time. Or I'll say I won the lottery. And those big things weren't happening, right? So you start to doubt, like, damn, does this shit really work? But then you have to be a little realistic with yourself. Like, it's like everything's not gonna pop up right now, like in this instant. We're in a dense reality for a reason. It takes time. The pieces of the puzzle have to be put together. There's a process, but we wanted this process so we can fully feel the love, the joy of creating a reality. And so
I think it's the journey to getting that Audi. It's like, hey, I say I want this and I'm seeing it all the time. That's building your faith. That's like there is a higher power. There is something that's like, like, wait a minute, this is coming into my awareness now. I'm seeing the car all the time. So like, why can't I have it?
It's reaffirming to you at that point.
Sometimes we just naturally believe that we just don't deserve or can't have things. And it's not for any old reason. It's just like you grow up, you say, I want to be a superstar. I want to be a fashionist. I want to be an icon. And everybody's like, what?
Right.
Why?
That's not realistic.
That's not realistic. Like, you should go to school. You should do all these things that I did. That I fucking hated doing. For real. And it's like now I'm seeing it clearly. And it's like, I was manifesting the whole time. When I'm looking at my old journals, I have hundreds
of amazing. Wow.
From like middle school. Because I was in there like just a dreamer. Like, I want to really be this. I want to move to LA. I want to do all these things. And I was writing it all down. I think I just didn't know how to intentionally like really detail for detail, like write out what I want until like I got older.
When did you learn about, your powers? Like, was it a book?
My first experience was like through my cousin and one of my best friends, and he's like a writer, so we wrote like a couple of records together at the time, and they were telling me about The Secret and about how they manifest parking spaces and things like that. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? What's this? So they're like, well, your thoughts create. Like, you have to watch this movie. It's going to explain everything to you. So I watched the movie, and I know the movie's like dramatic because, the guy's imagining an elephant and it's like, it pops up on the spot and it's like, okay, like this is
The Secret?
Yeah, The Secret movie. Okay. It's a little dramatized, obviously, for the enactment, but at the time I'm like, okay, like, let me try this out. So I go to the gym and I'm like, this guy's on this machine and he's hogging it. And I just think to myself, I'm like, I wish this guy would just get up and leave. And like the second I like said it, he got up and left. And I was like, this is what they were talking about. So I immediately am like, okay, so I try it with parking spaces, and it's like I say it before I go there, like, I'm gonna find the perfect parking space.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so happy and grateful. And then things would just start happening. I mean, I've manifested some crazy stuff. And I think like the more that I just kept going into those notebooks and like scripting. I mean, like I said,
important. It's so important.
I have a very strong, like I can study something. Like my first real manifestation was winning a spelling bee when I was in kindergarten. My mom.
Wait, what?
I'll tell you, because when it came up, I was okay. I really wanted a puppy. And I told my mom, like, hey, Mom, if I win this, like, I'm going to get this puppy. Like, we made an agreement and everything. Like I went home like, hey Mom, look, here's the deal. I want a dog, and if I win a spelling bee, like, can I have a puppy? So she's like, if you prove to me that you're dedicated enough to like focus on something and like win, then yeah, like you can have the dog. So before we even like, I mean, for weeks we were doing like studying, but before I even won, I went in there skipping like, I'm getting a dog. Like I had already, as a kid, knew like I was gonna win. Like I was cocky about it, and I won. And it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, and sometimes like you win in a way where you don't expect, where it's like a person flops on like the easiest word because they just weren't paying attention. And like, focus on your lane, because when you're focused on you and not what other people are doing, you just create so much possibility for you to win. Yep. Where, like the person who like thought she was gonna win, she didn't wind up winning, and it was like you messed up a simple word just because you didn't hear it. And it, you know what I mean? It's just like one of those things where it's like it's an easy mistake, but in the game, like, you know what I mean? So, that kind of just showed me like, wow, I could really have something and like get it.
Yeah.
And that becomes like a high that you chase forever.
I think it's important to along the notion of us creating our reality. I think it's interesting to understand how to pivot in negative situations where, well, I guess we deem it as negative. Like, for example, like let's just say something happens to you. Instead of like reacting to that situation, you were like, me personally, I sit back and laugh and I say, okay, I know this is happening for a reason. What am I, supposed to learn?
The laugh is a good one because I think it's the most empowering, because it could go from like, I got this.
You feel
oh, what's happening really quickly.
Yeah.
And I think we got to stay in control. Like the first thought that comes to my mind that's negative is getting shot down.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't let the spiral happen. if I open up for the spiral, it's going to take me to a place where I start believing all kinds of crazy things that are not relevant. It's not the truth.
Yep.
You know, you have to know yourself, and you have to have like so much time spent with yourself that you just know, like, wait a minute, I know how to manifest. I've manifested hundreds of things. I have literal proof of things written down, so I can go back every day. I open my journal and I say, what does universe want me to see today? And then I'll open it to a page, and it just be like where I was last year or 2 years, or like it would just kind of tell me something relevant, or maybe it might feed me affirmations I wrote to myself, and I'm communicating with myself through my journals. And now I'm like, okay, great. Like when things happen in my reality that are just like, this is ass. Like, what is this?
What is this?
Sometimes like it would try to catch you off guard, and it will really have you like, is the world real right now? Like, seriously happening? But you kind of have to tell yourself like, no, this isn't my reality. Like, that's powerless. Sorry. Like, good, nice try. I mean, I think even like the lessons that life has tried to teach me, like even with my sister, like, you know, my sister's 5 years younger than me. We have a relationship that's, you know, it's closer now because we live to, you know, we're living in the same place. And but growing up, it's hard to be 5 years younger than somebody. It's like, I'm allowed to go to the club, you can't.
Yeah.
And we're constantly trying to catch up with each other. But then in some ways I realized like she's so talented and so young and so smart and so advanced. Sometimes that younger generation just has that advantage where they're just quicker, and they can just, they got more confidence, or they're able to just put themselves out there in a way where maybe like as an older sibling, you know, you're so used to like being the one who always has to be on point or save face for your parents or be responsible. And it create, you know, it can create just limiting things for myself where I realized I wasn't being as strong or as I would be afraid to call and make, you know, pizza orders. And so to transform my personality from that place to just like, I'm here, I'm happy, I'm confident, I'm comfortable, you know, I think it's important to realize that no one's in your lane, you're your own competition, you know, like realizing how my sister could manifest with me and manifest things for me. Sometimes like we've manifested the same things and we'll be like, oh, our powers like twinning. This is crazy. Like, but then sometimes you'll realize like, okay, like sometimes like things fall out of place to fall into place.
Ooh.
Not everything's for you. And we've learned that with each other, where it's like we might have been like envious of each other in some ways, where it's like, oh, like, how did you get that? Or how did you do that so fast? Or how did you whatever? But it's like we're meant here. We're meant here to serve and help each other. That's where, you know, moving from love is not
coming from the heart space.
You know, and it takes a lot of ego killing to get to there.
Yeah, I think because two at the same time, especially like you mentioned your personal relationship with your sister, that's like a relationship with self ultimately.
Totally, because we are one. We are one.
100%.
Like my blueprint that I created for me inspired her to get up and do things, you know, to you know, I mean, it's kind of like, that's a lot on me. I'm like, I don't have your inspiration. Like, but in a way, like I'm grateful for it because I know that it's like, okay, we're gonna do something big together.
Yeah,
we're gonna use our talent together to put on for our family. And you know, I mean, even like with finance, like we got into, you know, just we got our finance licenses together and making money moves, and like even just the manifestation of that, like finding alignment with programs or people who have the millionaire mindset, so they kind of soak up that game too and manifest more abundantly and realize like, okay, if I'm gonna be an entrepreneur or anybody successful, like I can't have these limitations. I can't be afraid of failure.
Facts.
I gotta fail fast so I can get over it and not care. Like you said, I gotta laugh at it. I can't worry about it.
You mentioned, you know, money manifestation. I wanted to ask you this: how did you, I guess, how are you approaching your mindset on money? Like, what are the things that you know you say, or how do you embody yourself? Because I know that this is something that you know people struggle with, and I know that you know your input on it will you know help a lot of people who's listening.
I believe that one, if you follow your joy, you will become rich. Like you'll become rich off of just following your joy. But there's a few lessons recently that I've learned.
Okay.
One, I stopped saying broke and I started saying budgeting.
100%.
Because it's like, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. Like it sounds fun and it sounds cool because people say it and it's popular, but like that's not the energy that you want to be reaffirming because
Talk
it
about that.
will manifest.
Mhm.
And I also think too that there are times where sometimes you don't always have the money that you want to have. You know, we're all aspiring for more. And I think that when you don't have it, sometimes just being grateful. Like, you know what? I'm grateful I even got to eat today. I'm grateful I even got to, you know, go outside with my friends and be able to swipe my card. I'm grateful to just be here, to be alive, because that kind of like curates that energy for more to come. And sometimes it'll be like you're waiting for a check to come in, and like sometimes like, you know, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? And it's like that's keeping it away.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll go to like pick up the broom and sweep up something, and then all of a sudden, your money has just been deposited.
You
It's
let
like,
go and you
why
surrender
is it
at
that
home.
easy? You know, and it's like it's the game. It's the game. It's like, do you believe? It's sometimes it's $1 million ideas. Find things like I went to church one time, and then like they had a whole thing on like $1 million ideas and how you can, you know, like God will bless you by giving you a idea that's gonna make all of your money. And you know, a lot of my friends have their own brands, and we've been collaborating off of, you know, the creative tip. But it's like, you know, whether it's a fashion design brand or a hair store or, you know, a merch, like we're all we want to be independent. We want to put on for ourselves. And I think that like once you create that portal, you know, you're gonna attract abundance. I've seen people make a store go up and they make $1 million in 8 minutes.
That's
They took a risk on an idea, and it's like, and I'm talking about Shopify. So you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that you got to do the most to get what you want. You just have to be available and show up for yourself. I show up for my brand every day, you know, my projects every day, whether people are liking it, loving it, commenting or not. I'm just like in my world showing up for me. And I think, like I said, other money manifestation things are just like writing down gratitude lists, like when you're feeling that stress, you know, just
pivoting,
like praying for your finances, scripting. And also like when I buy things, I'm like, I'm so happy I'm rich and that this is coming back to me tenfold.
You have to play those little games.
Every time. And sometimes like it was just like it's something as simple as I wanted to go on a vacation, and you know, I'm working on budgeting and things that I'm trying to move and do things in my life, and like, okay, hey, let me just follow the joy of wanting to go and knowing that the universe has an abundant vacation for me. I've been waiting on this moment. So I'm just gonna, you know, just believe that I can go and let it happen effortlessly. And then I check one of my saving apps and I totally forgot that I had money in there for a rainy day. And this is given a rainy day because I wanted to go. So you kind of just like, I'm not saying to blow your bank account and play games, but it is like, you know, I have a friend that's like, hey, like I lost my AirPods. I go out and I buy another one. I'm not waiting for that pair to come back to me because it's going to come back to me when I find it. You know, if I find it, you know what I mean? And I have 2 pairs. That's abundance mindset. And I'm like,
okay, I like that.
I'm real. Like if I lose one pair, I'm not trying to dish out on another. But he's kind of like, hey, like, for perfect example, I might want a pair of $600 shoes and I only have $600 to my name. I'll buy the shoes and then like somebody will offer me a ride home, or then somebody offer me free dinner, and then like just things will just unfold for me to be financially stable until the next situation hits. Not that you should live check to check, but you know what I mean? It's just like
having that confidence
of the universe. It's like I'm never gonna be without. So
never, always taken care of.
You know what I mean? Like, do you know how many times I've been like locked out of my place and I just kind of like manifest my way in, no keys, no whatever, just like maybe maintenance happens to walk by and it's like, oh, are you good? I have your
perfect scripting. I like that. You're scripting. Okay.
You know, or sometimes it's on the spot, just testing your imagination where it's like, okay, I'm not going to sleep on the street tonight. I know I lost my keys, but Oh, I lost my wallet last night. How about that? I was out with my friends and I was having a good time. I lost my wallet. I was like, you know what? I'm having a good time right now, so I'm gonna stay calm and it's gonna come back to me. By the
Wow.
time we went to the bar, like they didn't even ID us. I got in the bar, so that wasn't an issue. Like I'm of age, so it wasn't even a problem. It's just like, some places go hard. They want to see your ID. I was able to get it, and by the time I was calm enough, the Uber called me back and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna drop it off to you."
That's crazy. That's
And
crazy.
like people were saying, like, "Oh, like you must have good karma or good juju."
I'm
Or
talking
I
manifestation.
kind of practiced it and cultivated it, so I expect this now. Where it's like I don't lose things. Whatever is lost is gonna come back to me one way or another. So, I kind of just like find my way in like when I'm in a trigger position, I'll just be like, okay, let me just, stabilize my thoughts, meditate real quick, just get back on track.
Yeah.
Because within moments, click, 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 like,
damn.
Like the meeting that you were late for, somebody's like, yeah, I'm actually gonna reschedule it for another day. I had to, whatever. No worries. You're like, oh, thank God. Like I was rushing for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm doing all these things for no reason, and I'm the one in control. So
this episode is powerful. This episode is powerful. Wow. This scripting. Are you familiar with Abraham Hicks at all?
Yeah, very.
Oh, it reminded me of I forgot which book that was. I don't know if it's Ask It Is Given. It's one of those books. But she talks about
my bookshelf.
You got that on bookshelf? I knew it. Because
But I actually haven't really read it all yet. It's an airport that I picked up, but I'm still. But I feel like I watch so many YouTube videos and I'm
That's
just
what
like
I do.
in audiobooks that it's like a lot of these principles. I think I've studied so much that you kind of realize like the techniques are the same.
Yeah.
They're kind of the same.
I peeped that.
The mindset is kind of the same. You're kind of getting it's reiterating the same information. I think that's what makes it so. You're like, it's so hard that it's simple. Like, you know what I mean? It's right there. It's accessible. Manifesting is easy. It's as quickly as saying something, thinking of something.
Yeah.
I thought of a friend and then I freaking ran into him yesterday. I'm like, I haven't seen you in months. Like, but I had a convo about him, so it's not a surprise to me that he's popping up. You know what I mean? Like, it just happens.
That's powerful, guys. If you don't know about who Abraham Hicks is, it's a being, was a woman who channels other selves of ours and the energetic.
Yeah, she definitely channels other selves for sure. I've noticed.
100%.
100%. And I
She's
think
amazing.
I think that she kind of just has like this warmness to her that just feels like, you see this confidence in people. And I think that confidence is a place of like, I know I'm in control of my thoughts and my reality. So life is a breeze. Why do I need to be tense? Why do I need to? And I'm really aspiring to stay in that place.
Yeah. Deliberate creation is what they call it. I always ask this last question for my co-host before we wrap it up. Not what hours, wow, it's been a long day. What message do you have for humanity during this time? And take your time to think about that.
That's a very powerful question. I think that it's so easy to just say, stay positive, or, you got this, or it's going to be all right. I don't think that necessarily resonates with a lot of people because their mindset is not necessarily open to seeing all the possibilities of things when the 3D is giving you chaos and it's giving you, the news is feeding you bullshit. And, I think that it's important to just remember that, we are all one. We are in control
100%.
of our state, of our vibration, of our contribution to this world. We have to be the change that we want to see. We have to embody the improvements that we want. Every day, just, consistently just contributing and having faith, I think is so important. I think I always say this, I'm like, people have so much more faith in the negative than the positive. And it's like, imagine like what would happen if we all just like made a shift and just like made the positive more of the norm. You know what I mean? I think it would just like, why is it that it's so much easier to believe in like negativity than positivity. It just doesn't make sense to me at some points. And I think sometimes I'm like,
Are you addicted to negativity?
yeah, it's like we already know. I always say, like, we already know the problem. What's the solution?
Yeah.
Because you're like pointing it out and like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. That's not gonna change shit. Like, what changes things are, actively thinking about like, well, I don't like this. Like, maybe I want to like start a petition. Maybe I want to, call this person. You know what I mean? Like, create a platform that's going to help. Or maybe I should speak up. I think that's why it's important to talk on these topics, because I think that life can be easier, and I want people to know that. Like, I'm personally experiencing like the craziest synchronicities in creation of my life. And it's all just because I changed my mindset, and I'm like devoted to thinking more positively, staying in tune with my spirituality, and just focusing on vibrating high and being a good person, and just like giving back to like the artistic community, the R&B community, and wherever else, God sees fit, because I know that it's my purpose in this world is going to be bigger than just the music. That's an avenue, but I think it's great to be able to do what I love, to take a risk. I took a risk on what I wanted to do. I made the move, and it's happening, like the album is coming, the music is coming, like the videos are coming, everything I ever wanted is now starting to manifest. And I think like the fruit is the last thing on that tree. So you have to remember, like, just hang in there. That work is gonna pay off. Sometimes I could do a photo shoot and I got no love on it, but then like, that was 3 years ago, but maybe like it went viral because somebody posted it on a popular blog this year. And it's like, you're always going to pay. It's like you're paying back yourself in a way. You're always going to reap what you sow. You just have to.
I love this. Where can we find you?
I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, under the name Niqa Mor, NIQA MOR. I have my Instagram, Niqa Mor, but there's an underscore in between, NIQA_MOR. And I'm just really excited to just share like my gift with the world. I feel like when it comes to like special projects, you really work hard on something, and like every song I manifested, every song came to me from the divine, and like even like the numbers were in the audio files, like 333 or 12, and that's how I knew like, okay, this classic album that I'm manifesting is happening, and the product is just, it means the world to me, and I just can't wait to put it out.
That's beautiful. When you do, definitely hop back on the show. Definitely.
I would love to break it down for you.
You're welcome on the show anytime. Niqa Mor, thank you so much for being on. This episode was one of my favorites. It was a really great conversation. You're welcome on anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm like so happy that we got to have like such, an invigorating conversation. You don't get to have them every day, and they're rare. So it's like, I'm vibing high right now.
Same. Blessings. Guys, well, of course, everything, I'm gonna include Niqa's information at the bottom of the description. And as always, you're the creator of your own reality. Be conscious of what you think. Play a make-believe game with yourself of how you want to experience things, and stop taking life serious. As always, guys, be love. You are love, and I love you most importantly. Peace.
Things working out, best case scenario.
Facts.